Hello everyone, myself PIYUSH and TANDEL, working as Assistant Professor in Electrical Engineering Department of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. And the name of subject is Power System Planning and Design, which comes in 4th year, 8th semester. Right now we are going to discuss about the chapter number 3, that is Design of Power System, and this is the module number 3.1. So in this module we are going to see the location, or we can say location selection of power generating station. So before talking about the location of power generating station, in all the power plant, mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy by electrical generators. Depending upon how this mechanical energy is obtained from the neutral energy source, that can be anything, that is like chemical energy, kinetic energy, then after potential energy, and generating station are generally classified depending on that nature of the energies. So like steam, or we can say thermal power station, then after hydroelectric power station, then after gas turbine power station and nuclear power station and etc, right? So in location of all these different power station, we need to consider the following basis. That's first one, that is the source of energy. Second one, that is the cost that required at the location of the site. Then after third one, that is the place. Fourth one, that is the losses. Fifth one, that is the efficiency. Sixth, that is the cost of maintenance. Seventh, that is time of installation. And eighth, that is simplicity and cleanliness of that power station. Right? So now we are going to discuss all these topics in detail. So starting with the source of energy. Right, the source of energy from which the power has to be generated is important. In thermal power station, coal or oil or gas is used, right? It is essential that the supply of this fuel is available regularly for long duration of times. And we can say in nuclear power station, uranium is required, right? For the processing should be possible, right? And for the hydropower plant, we require large amount of water and store the energy in form of potential energy. Now the second one, that is the cost. So the cost of land, plant, machinery, building that we are going to build, etc, is including inside of the capital cost. This cost is counted per megawatt. Okay, this cost is counted per megawatt. For this idea of cost of installation of different power station can be judged. An annual cost is considered in two types. So the first type, that is the annual fixed cost, and second one, that is the annual running cost. So the fund required for the land, building, plant and machinery, etc, is borrowed as a loan, and annual interest has to be paid on this borrowed capital. So in addition, some amount has to be kept aside every year as a depreciation charge on the cost of the plant and machinery. So the annual fixed cost includes cost of interest and depreciation on the capital amount. This is called as a fixed cost. This cost depend upon the capacity of the plant. So fixed cost is going to depend on the capacity of that plant, and on the other hand, the running cost depends on the number of unit generated and not the capacity of that plant. And for example, cost of fuel, transportation, maintenance, salary and etc are considered as a running cost. When we compare the cost of all the power station, the capital cost of the hydro power station is the highest one, while the running cost is least, and capital cost of the nuclear power station is also more, but it less than the hydro power station. The capital cost of the thermal power station is less than that of nuclear power station. That we need to remind ourselves. When we compare the operating or the running cost, it is in increasing order for the hydro, thermal, nuclear and diesel. So hydro power plant is the cheapest one while we are talking about the running. Now next one, that is the site, or we can say place. So there are several factors that are going to affect the site. There are following, like first one, that is the proximity to the load, then after necessity of the cooling water, condition of the soil, effect on the environment, and facility of transformation. Now first one, that is the proximity to the load center. It means the power station should be located near the load center. This reduces the cost of transmission and distribution. Now this condition cannot be fulfilled completely in hydropower station. This can be satisfied in nuclear and thermal power station to some extent, and it can be fulfilled fully in the case of diesel power station, because we can locate our diesel power station near to the load center, but that is not possible in the hydropower station. Now second one, that is the necessity of the cooling water. This is important in case of thermal and nuclear power station, as large amount of cooling water is required for the condensing plant. So both the power station are located on the bank of river or near the big lake. Less amount of cooling water is required in diesel power station, while in hydropower station there is no need of cooling. Now next one, that is the condition of the soil. That is the condition of the soil should be good, as large foundation are required. The land should neither be rocky nor be soft, because if it is rocky, it is very difficult to build a building and construction of that power plant, and if it is too soft, then the structure is not going to be in support with that type of soil. And this is very essential for the hydropower station, as the dam has to be constructed. It is somewhat important in case of thermal and nuclear power station. It is not of much importance in case of diesel power station. Okay. Sorry. Effect of environment, that is the fourth one. So the atmosphere should not be polluted by the operation of that plant. So the power station should be located away from the populated areas. There is no direct questions of pollution in hydropower station, but due to the construction of the dam, large area of land is submerged, and this caused the ecological unbalance. So there is direct effect on atmosphere due to the smoke, fumes, acids, etc. in case of thermal power station. In nuclear power station, there is possibility of radiations. In diesel power station, this is not much importance, okay, because we can rectify it easily. And the last one, that is the facility of transportation. That is, good transportation facility is needed in the initial stage of the installation and thereafter for the transportation of the fuel to the site. This is important in case of hydropower station, as the site is deeply on the forest where there is no facility of transportation. In case of thermal and nuclear power station, this problem is not very much accurate, as the facility can be available somewhat very much easily. Now next topic that we are going to talk, that is the losses. Now standby losses should be as small as possible. Whenever there is conversion of energy, there is losses of some energy, and it is more when the number of equipment are more. For example, in thermal power station, as there are many stations, the standby losses are more, and in nuclear and diesel power station there are less components, that's why the losses are also very much of less, and in hydropower station it is less. Next one, that is the efficiency. So the efficiency of the plant should be more. This depends upon the standby losses. Efficiency of the hydropower plant is, we can consider as 80 to 90%. Efficiency of the nuclear power station is 30 to 40%, but the efficiency of the thermal power station is only about 18 to 32%. Now next one that we are going to talk, that is the cost of maintenance. Now cost of maintenance increase when the number of equipment are more. So the maintenance cost is higher in thermal power station. It is decreasing order for the nuclear, hydro and diesel power station. Next one, that is the time of installation. So time for installation is the highest in case of hydropower station, as a large civil engineering work like dam, canal, tunnels, penstock, etc. is involved. The time for installation for the nuclear, thermal and diesel power station is in decreasing order. And the last one that we are going to talk about, that is the simplicity and cleanliness. Simplicity and cleanliness. The plan should be simple and care has to be taken for the cleanliness. Of course, this depends upon the type of power station. If we are going to talk about the hydro power plant is the simplest and cleanest power plant, then the decreasing order comes like diesel, nuclear, and last one, that is the thermal power plant. Now next topic that we are going to see is the comparison between different power stations. So over here, as you can see, the base, that is the source of energy. In hydro we have water at some height. In thermal power station we have coal or oil, or we can call gas. And in nuclear power station we have nuclear fuel, and in diesel power station we have diesel as a fuel. So this is the source of energy. Capital cost is maximum in hydro power plant. Then after, less than in thermal power plant it is less than nuclear, and in nuclear power plant it is less than hydro. So first one, that is the hydro, second one, that is the nuclear, third one, that is the thermal, and fourth one, that is the diesel. So operating cost, that is the minimum in hydro power plant. Then after, in thermal it is more than hydro, in nuclear it is more than thermal, and in diesel it is maximum. So it is like order of first one, that is the hydro, then after thermal, then after nuclear, and last one, that is the diesel power plant. Now proximity of load center, that is less possibility, because the plant, or we can say that the size of dam is very much of large and it required large catchment area, so we cannot locate our hydropower plant near to the load center. Then after, thermal power plant it is possible, and for the nuclear it is most possible, and diesel is also most possible. So we can locate our diesel and nuclear power plant nearby the load centers. Next one, that is the necessity of cooling water. So there is no requirement of cooling water in hydropower station. Then after, in thermal power station the cooling power required is more, same as well as in nuclear also cooling power required is also more, and for the diesel power station it is required very much amount of less. Next we are going to talk about the standby losses. So standby losses is least in hydro, then after maximum in thermal power plant, more in nuclear power plant, and very much of less in diesel power plant. Efficiency is the maximum for the hydro power plant, that we can say 80 to 90 percentage. Minimum in case of thermal power plant, that is 18 to 32 percentage. Medium range in case of nuclear power plant, that is 30 to 40 percentage, and more in case of diesel power plant, that is 70 to 80 percentage. Maintenance that is required by the hydro power plant is least, thermal power plant is more, in nuclear power plant it is moderated, and in diesel power plant it is less. Then after, time of installation, so time of installation in hydro power plant is maximum. Then after, for the thermal power plant it is comparatively less, and then after, in nuclear power plant it is less than the hydro, and for the diesel power plant it is very much of minimum. And simplicity and neatness, that is the maximum in hydro power plant, because it is not going to pollute environment. Then after, it is less in thermal power plant, comparatively more because of the radioactive device, and more for the diesel power plant. So this is about the comparison of different types of power plant. These are the questions that are asked in GTU examination, like explain the location and selection of power generating station, that can be asked for the 4 marks. Then after, explain the consideration in the planning and designing of the generating power station, that can be also asked by the 4 marks. And the comparison between different type of power plant, that can be asked, either it can be asked in 7 marks or it can be asked in 4 marks both. So that's it for this video lecture. Thank you. If you have any kind of query, then feel free to ask me. Thank you.